Hello, everybody. Welcome. Everyone, Bashar Hanna on the keyboard. Let's give him a round of applause. Thanks so much for playing us in. And we'll see again Bashar a little later on. He's leading one of the, or both of, I think, the musical acts. Welcome, everyone, and thank you all for joining us. My name's Michael Sofrenic. I am the CEO at Metro Assist, your host organisation tonight. And I would like to start by acknowledging country, and I would love to invite to the stage Arnie Lynn Martin, who will do a welcome. So thank you, Arnie.
Bajara Barunga. Good afternoon. Thank you. Just a little bit about myself. My family line is both from Gundurra and the Darug Nations. These lands combined travel from Bowral over the mountains down to the ocean, from this side of the Georges River through to the Hawkesbury. On this large tract of land were many clan groups belonging to these two nations. And you are on Gadigal land. I would like to pay my respects to all elders who have gone before us and those who are here today. They are the ones who have taught us our stories, law, song, and dance, as these are the ways we pass on our history, having no written language. When I was asked to do refugee work, and congratulations everyone, I had to think about what I would say to you in my welcome, because I usually use them as a teaching tool or information. But I'll put you on a secret. You know all those white people that came out here on those boats in the 1800s? They were refugees too. They came out here looking for land, gold, whatever they could find. And they took it. And they didn't thank anyone as you do. But to give you an idea of how Aboriginal people think, feel, I'd like to read to you an extract from a story originally told by, or written by, Miriam Rose Ungmeyer, an Aboriginal woman from the Northern Territory. A special quality, a unique gift of the Aboriginal people is inner, deep listening and quite still awareness. Dandari recognises the deep spring that is inside us. It is something like what you would call contemplation. The contemplative way of Dandari spreads over our whole life. It renews us and brings us peace. It makes us feel whole again. In our Aboriginal way, we learnt to listen from our earliest times. We could not live good, useful lives unless we listened. We are not threatened by silence. We are completely at home in it. Our Aboriginal way has taught us to be still and wait. We do not hurry things up. We let them follow their natural course, like the seasons. We watch the moon in each of its phases. We wait for the rain to fill our rivers and water the thirsty earth. When twilight comes, we prepare for the night. At dawn, we rise with the sun. We watch the bush foods and wait for them to open before we gather them. We wait for our young people as they grow, stage by stage, through their initiation ceremonies. When a relation dies, we wait for a long time with sorrow. We own our own grief and allow it to heal slowly. We wait for the right time for our ceremonies and meetings. The correct people must be present. Careful preparations must be made. We don't mind waiting because we want things to be done with care. Sometimes many hours will be spent painting the body before an important ceremony. We don't worry. We know that in time and in the spirit of Dandari, the way will be made clear. We are like the tree standing in the middle of a bushfire, sweeping through the timber. The leaves are scorched and the tough bark is scarred and burnt. But inside the tree, the sap is still flowing, and under the ground, the roots are still strong. Excuse me. Like that tree, we have endured the flames, and we still have the power to be reborn. Our people are used to the struggle and the long waiting. We still wait for the white people to understand us better. We ourselves have spent many years learning the white man's ways. We have learnt to speak the white man's language. We have listened to what he had to say, but learning and listening should go both ways. We are hoping people will come closer. We keep on longing for the things that we have always hoped for, respect and understanding. There are deep springs within each of us. Within this deep spring, which is the very spirit, is a sound, the sound of deep calling to deep. So I say to you, Waramai Didjara, Jana Jandali Bulawul Nangani, welcome to our land, Darug land, and thank you for walking with me and strengthening my dreaming.
Thank you so much, Auntie Lynn. Just a token of our appreciation. Thanks so much. I too would take a moment to acknowledge that the land on we're all meeting on tonight is and always will be Aboriginal land, and I would like to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and welcome any Aboriginal and First Nations people with us tonight. May we all rest in hope that the statement, the Uluru Statement from the Heart, actually achieves what it sets out to do. So we have a packed evening tonight. It's all about a celebration, and thank you all for joining us. I would like to hand over to the chair of Metro Assist, Scott Massin. Scott has been with us about 4 years now. I'm still the new guy, and he's going to officially welcome and open tonight's proceedings. So thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Auntie Lynn, for your welcome to country. I always find those incredibly moving, and I always find I learn something new every time I listen to one of those. So on behalf of the Metro Assist Board, I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's Refugee Week celebration dinner. I'd like to welcome our special guests, so Jihad Dib, the member for Lakemba in the New South Wales Parliament. There's a few of these, so you might just want to leave the applause till the end. Chin Tan, the Race Discrimination Commissioner. Carl Asfor, who's the Mayor of Canterbury Bankstown Council. Matthew Blackmore, who's the Mayor of Strathfield Council. Darcy Byrne, who's the Mayor of the Inner West Council. And also Councillors Philippa Scott and Mark Drury as part of the Inner West Council. Councillor Nathan Haggerty from Liverpool Council. Jasmina Bajar-Tarovic, who's the President of the Refugee Council of Australia. Adama Kamara, who's the Deputy CEO of the Refugee Council of Australia. And Andre Renzaho, who's a Professor of Humanitarian and Development Studies from the University of Western Sydney. So thank you for everyone for taking your time coming along this evening. And also thank you to the many of our colleagues who join us representing their organisations. So we have some sister organisations who are represented here tonight. Greater Western Sydney, MRC, Advanced Diversity Services, the Chinese Association of Social Services, SSI, Sydney Community Connect Group, South West Sydney Local Health District, yeah, you can give yourself a clap, Cancer Institute of New South Wales, the New South Wales Police, particularly the Campsie Local Area Command, TAFE New South Wales, Multicultural New South Wales and other New South Wales government departments, and also community leaders representing various ethnicities and faiths across our community. So thank you for joining us for tonight's celebration. It's really, Michael and myself really appreciate you coming along. It's wonderful that at long last we can actually meet face to face to acknowledge and celebrate Refugee Week. The past 2 years of COVID have of course made that impossible. As everyone here would know, Refugee Week is designed to raise awareness of the issues affecting refugees in Australia. Of course, no one can represent this experience like someone who's been through it firsthand, and you'll be hearing about some of those experiences during the evening, which is I'm really looking forward to. In my 5 years with Metro Assist, I've had the privilege to hear from a number of refugees about the path they took to arrive in Australia. Sometimes a journey that took them many years, and also the highs and lows of settling in once they arrive. Every journey and experience that I've heard is different. However, the one thing that I'm always in awe of as I walk away from these discussions is the courage that each refugee has shown throughout this journey, and the courage they continue to show in building their lives in Australia. It's truly inspiring. So over a number of decades, Australia has been a world leader in bringing in vulnerable refugees from many countries and supporting them to settle in Australia. In the last year, we've seen in Afghanistan and Ukraine, we've had extreme situations that have emerged very quickly. And again, Australia has opened its heart to refugees who have been displaced by the conflict. So many of the organisations in this room have been at the forefront of assisting with that resettlement. So can I take this opportunity to thank you for what you've done and will continue to do in assisting these vulnerable people re-establishing their lives and finding a new home in a new country. So thank you. Metro Assist is now in its 4th decade in providing migrant and refugee services. And so to the team here tonight, on behalf of the board, can I thank you for all that you do every day to assist refugees and other people who need our services. It's tough but very rewarding work, and your efforts really do make a difference, and you can be very proud of the difference you make. So on behalf of the board, can I thank all the team from Metro for all the work they do. It's fantastic. Thank you. And finally, as you all know, these events don't arrange themselves. So I'd like to thank Michael and his team for all their stellar efforts in creating tonight's event. So we have an exciting program coming up this evening, so I'll pass you back to Michael so we can get underway. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you, Scott. It's probably important for me to mention a few apologies we also received from all of the federal local members. They all got a better offer. No, it's not true. There are representatives from various offices here tonight and will be here. We may yet see a late arrival of one or two of the sitting members, but they've all sent their apologies, as has the Mayor of Liverpool Council as well. So look, it's my job to host tonight, so thank you for having me in a sense. There's a couple of boring housekeeping issues that we need to address straight away. If you need to use the facilities, that is the male or females, there are some out through the side doors here or through the back. In the event of an emergency, panic, run around screaming, no. We'll be orderly directed by event staff. So please just grab your belongings and follow the directions of any event staff as we move through anything that may happen. Now that I've said that, of course it won't happen. If I did not say it, of course we would all be out on the street in 5 minutes. We also, you may have noticed, we have some people taking photos, and hopefully I grabbed many of you on the way in for a shameless photo. If you don't want your photo taken, just please tell the photographer, they won't be offended. We have a policy whereby we won't take anyone's images or capture or use anyone's images that doesn't give us permission. So tonight is best for you if you don't want your image taken, just to tell the photographer. There is a hashtag for those of us of a generation. We're using the Refugee Week 2022 hashtag. Please tag Metro in it as you can. This is a way we can communicate to all our brothers and sisters who aren't here tonight, who couldn't make it for one reason or other. And some of those are actually Metro Assist people who in the recent few days contracted COVID and were integral to this event and couldn't be here either. Scott's absolutely right. We have a packed program, and I want to invite, if I could, the Peacemakers Ensemble onto stage, and we can get started. Just while we're doing that, it's my job to tell you a little bit about Metro Assist. Scott mentioned that we've been around for 4 decades. I've been in the hot seat, if you like, for the last 15 odd months as the CEO, a new CEO coming in. Following on the legacy, it's my turn in the chair, so to speak, before I hand it over to someone else in hopefully quite a number of years. And look, Metro Assist, what attracted me to Metro Assist is that it's an organisation that has existed in community for more than 4 decades and has always tried to help the most vulnerable people in its community. It was originally the Canterbury Bankstown Migrant Resource Centre, moved into Metro Migrant Resource Centre, and we even outgrew that to be Metro Assist, in that we support vulnerable people from any walk of life and not just from a called perspective. And of course, as you know, some of the most vulnerable people on the planet, unfortunately, are those that find themselves classified as a refugee. No one chooses to be a refugee, but everybody gets to choose how we treat them. And so, importantly, the work that we do at Metro Assist gives me heart, gives me passion, and helps me go to sleep at night. Some nights, I'm sure my wife here will tell you otherwise. But certainly, it struck a chord in my heart, and I knew that I had to give of my opportunity to give others theirs. So, Metro Assist has many staff here tonight, so if you want to find out more, then your challenge, I put a challenge to you, is find a person from Metro Assist. Fortunately tonight, they're pretty easy to spot. They had a t-shirt on earlier. I'm wondering if many of them still have those shirts on now. But your job is to find out as much as you can from them. And then if you like, you can report back to me about what they did tell you or what they could tell you. So you're all under... you're all being appraised. No. But in all seriousness, what we do is try to give back to community. People in this room, you're either part of that journey or you have benefited from that journey. All of us come from somewhere. Most of the people in this room have been a refugee or have a settlement journey within Australia, within either themselves or their immediate family. And that's really important to recognise. We live in a community that without multiculturalism wouldn't survive, and we're stronger for it. So I'm grateful. So over to the Peacemakers. I think they're all ready. I did see a number of people coming up. They're just going to share with us the Australian National Anthem to start. So can I ask if you could all be upstanding for the National Anthem? That would be fantastic. Welcome to the Peacemakers.
Please? Can we get some microphones, please? That's okay, that's all right, it's a bit short. That doesn't matter, we're all going to share singing the song. Thank you. Is it working? Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are one and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our land is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page age. Let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair. Beneath a radiant southern cross, we'll toil with hearts and hands to make this commonwealth of ours renowned of all the land. For those who've come across the seas, we've boundless plains to share. With courage, let us all combine to advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Sit down. There's one more performance. Thank you. Can we just get the microphones turned on? There's two remote mics. Who would have thought in this day of age, technology we're waiting on us?
We are one, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australian. I am, you are, we are Australia, we are one, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we've come. We share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australian. I am, you are, we are Australian. I'm the hot wind from the desert. I'm the black soil of the plain. I'm the mountains and the valleys. I'm the drought and flooding rain. I am the rock, I am the skies, the rivers when they run, the spirit of this great land. I am Australia. We are one, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We Australian. Ah, yeah, you are, we are Australian. Ah, yeah, you are, we are Australian. Ah, yeah, you are, we are Australian. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, the Peacemakers Ensemble. Just a quick word about Bashar Hanna, an incredible career and journey. OAM, Order of Australia recipient. Influence of the Year, Australia Day Volunteer of the Year, Outstanding Community Leader of the Year, Community Ambassador for South West Sydney Community Legal Centre, and the list goes on. Bashar, thank you so much for being here and bringing your Peacemakers Ensemble. Yeah, we can clap again. Thank you. So we have a recorded video next. Unfortunately, the keynote address, the National Race Discrimination Commissioner, Chin Tan, couldn't be with us today. Did, however, would like to record a video and did want to share a message with us. So we're going to play that. You can see that entree is coming out. By all means, don't stop and wait. But over to the Nation Commissioner, the National Race Discrimination Minister, Chin Tan, Commissioner, sorry.
Thank you, Auntie Lynn, for your welcome and allowing us in this space. I respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which this celebration is being held, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and I pay my respect to their elders, past, present, and to their emerging leaders. I also acknowledged the traditional custodians of the land where I reside, the Boonwurrung Boon Wurrung and the Wurundjeri Woi Wurrung peoples of the Eastern Kulin Nation. I acknowledge their connection to land, waters, and community and pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and acknowledge their emerging leaders. May I also extend that respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in attendance this evening. This land always was and always will be Aboriginal land. We're so grateful to all the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander knowledge holders who have generously provided input to the work that the Commission has conducted over the years. I acknowledge the long history and leadership of First Nations peoples in anti-racism efforts. It is an honor to be invited to speak here tonight with such a wealth of knowledge and experience in the room. Allow me to express my appreciation to Metro Assist and to your chair, Scott Machin, members of the board and management, and all the supporters and volunteers for the invitation to address you this evening, and to obviously thank you for the critical work that you undertake. Through the community services they provide, including migrant settlement, family support and early intervention, financial support, tenancy services, and community development, and the list goes on. Metro Assist play a critical and crucial role in supporting communities from diverse backgrounds to participate fully in the Australian society. This year's Refugee Week theme is healing, and that gives us the opportunity to celebrate the contributions of refugee communities. And tonight's program especially provides an excellent sample of the creativity, innovation, and diversity that our Australian society is so privileged to have and to be able to embrace. Since March of 2021, my team at the Commission and I have been working on the initial stages of developing a national anti-racism framework. During these processes, we have had the privilege to speak with community members, many of whom are from refugee and migrant backgrounds. Participants have shared with us the privilege of being able to be in Australia and to be able to participate and feel a sense of belonging. And of course, they've also shared with us their experiences that are both good and bad. And we've heard from community members who have experienced discrimination in employment, in education, in the provision of services, and in the broader society. And we've also heard about positive experiences where community has been empowered to not only participate, but to strive and to be able to thrive in our community. The findings from the initial scoping phase of the National Anti-Racism Framework Project demonstrate the importance of multiculturalism and how beneficial it is to our society. As the Refugee Council of Australia reminds us, the extensive qualifications, skills, and diversity that refugees and migrants bring adds to the prosperity of Australia and allows our society to flourish. What a privilege Australia has in providing a home for many refugees and for migrants. This nation is fortunate to be able to share its wealth of opportunities. Together, I hope we can continue to work together towards ensuring this reality only expands as we all deserve equality and the opportunity to make a home here for ourselves and for our families in this country, no matter where our birthplace or what our cultural or racial backgrounds might be. Although I'm aware, and I'm sure most people in this room would be, that there is still a long way to go in the work to do that we need to do to remove barriers to equitable participation with organizations such as Metro Assist. We believe we can strive towards a society that respects individuality, dignity, and diversity as Metro Assist mission outlines. We should continue to open our arms and acknowledge the great gifts we receive when we have healthy refugee policies and programs in place to support communities. So once again, I'd like to thank Metro Assist for inviting me to speak to you at this evening's event. It has been my pleasure. This evening is more than a dinner. It is a celebration of progress and celebration of the beauty that community and diversity bring. It is wonderful to observe all the progress and all the wins taking place within the sector. And I hope the sector and communities will only continue to prosper. The work to support refugees and migrants to settle in Australia will continue. And there's much work to be done. But tonight is for you to celebrate and enjoy. And I wish you well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chintan. What an interesting gentleman he is, and what a job he has to do. Entrees are coming out, so we might give it a few minutes for everybody to consume their entree. I know our next guest is really keen to jump on the stage, and I'm pretty excited to introduce him. But just to Chintan's work, the federal government, Minister Giles last week made public his commitment to a national anti-racism strategy and the commitment of the Labor Party to do so. It is critical, the piece of work that we all can, in this room, can do to help contribute to that. So I'll let you digest your entree, but I would like to introduce the next guest. Somebody who I've only had the fortune to meet just this evening, however, his reputation precedes him. Known as Ginger George to many of his friends and colleagues, and in fact, I think a whole sector, believe it or not. George Najarian, also known as Ginger George, is an award-winning refugee, but I'm not allowed to tell you where he's from, and there'll be clues to that later. He has educated thousands of Australian community members, people, lay persons, however you want to put it, about refugees, about the refugee plight, not only within this country but right around the world. Has raised more than $12,000 and launched 2 scholarships for refugees. He has a passion for speaking publicly and advocating for refugees. And anybody who's seen Ginger George before, don't worry, his material is always fresh. But a fantastic advocate and one of the genuine people doing work consistently and constantly to make Australia a better place. George is also a public figure and been on TV and many radio shows, such as Go Back to Where You Came From on the SBS. He's a regular on the drum, I hear, on ABC. And when he has time, George also volunteers several organisations where he's an advocate and represents refugee communities. And tonight he's volunteering for one more organisation. So if you could join with me in welcoming George to the stage, Ginger George, and his fantastic wares and a story that will regale us all. Thank you, George.
Thank you, Michael, again. That was a great introduction. So, hello everyone, and welcome. My name is George, and as everybody calls me, Ginger George for some obvious reasons, and being the only ginger one in the family. May I have the PowerPoint presentation on, please? So I am a refugee. I am a refugee. I would like to ask you now, can anybody guess where I am from? Can anybody guess where I come from? All right, look, I'm getting good guesses. Some people are saying Armenia. Oh, that's right. Exactly, that's right. I am Armenian refugee from Syria. Thank you very much. My background is Armenian. And I was born and raised in Syria. Can we move to the next slide, please? Okay. So we usually say refugees. Who are the refugees? Who is refugee? Who am I? Let me ask you that question. What is the difference between me and somebody who was born here? Who is refugee? Who am I? Can anybody have a guess? It should be easy. It should be very easy for all of us. Language, yep. Language, somebody said language, yes. Can I have any other guesses, please? Who is refugee and what is the difference between me and you, for example? Culture, yes. Birthplace, yes. Birthplace. I'm getting great guesses, but we are always forgetting something. At the end, when I ask who am I and what is the difference between me and you, we always forget that we are all human. And there is no difference in reality. There is no difference between me who is standing here and talking about my story and you sitting on the table, because there is no difference. We are at the end all human, regardless of the religion and the background you come from. So if you ask me who you are, I would say I am human. Moving on to the next slide. Yes. And to move on to the next slide, now it's going to be personal. Yes, moving on. I would like to introduce you my family. As you can see, my beautiful family here. So let's start from my mom, Elizabeth. We call her Queen Elizabeth. She likes to be treated like a queen. She is a student. Currently, she's studying IT. And then I have my brother, Garo, who is a tattoo artist. And I have 2 younger sisters, Clara and Carla. They are currently at high school. And if you ask me, what about your father? Yes, we can see there is somebody called Vartan. His name was Vartan. If you ask me, where is his photo? Can anybody have a guess why there is no his photo? There is no photo of him on the slide. He's missing? Yep. Any other guesses? why I don't have any photos of him. Not alive. Yes. Unfortunately, I have lost my father many years ago. But if you ask me why I don't have a photo of him with me today, because when we had to flee, I didn't even have a chance to grab a photo of my father with me, to bring it with me to remember him. Moving on. Next slide. So let me take you through my life in Syria. I had a beautiful life in Syria, as I said. I'm an Armenian, and I used to serve at Armenian church as a subdeacon. And also I used to study mechatronics and robotics engineer, and literally I was the first in my university, and I had great results. And at the same time, I had beautiful life. My life was so great as your life is now, before the war started. I used to volunteer with different organizations. I used to hang out with my friends, and I couldn't complain from anything from my life. But moving on to the next slide, my life has changed in 2013. In 2013, the war has reached my city of Aleppo. The life that I used to live has gone. If you see the photos here, the first photo is very closely related to my life, because under that pile of destroyed building, it was my father's shop. We used to rent it out. The next photo in the middle, it was my university campus. And I do remember one day after I have done my exam, I went home and I get calls from people. They are asking, "How are you, George?" I said, "Why? What happened?" Apparently somebody exploded, somebody threw a grenade, and somebody threw a huge rocket in my university campus, and I lost many friends. And at the last photo is a tank that I have seen in front of my house, and I took my phone to capture it. Imagine you wake up in the morning and you see a tank parked in front of your house. This was our life, but we still were surviving and we're trying to live in Syria. Moving on. What was the decision that we moved? Of course, first, there was no food, no electricity, no water, no nothing. Literally, every day everything became worse and worse and worse. We ran out of food. You only survive if you had money. We used to pay, just a comparison, before the war started, we used to pay $5 for a kilo of tomato. During the wartime, we had to pay $500 for a kilo of tomato. This was our life. And I used to see people digging wells in front of their houses so they can have some water to drink. And the next thing, I was still trying to survive. I mean, you could see people losing weight. And the next thing was the unsafety, because there were clashes and bombings happening everywhere, and people, they were killing each other, and we were trying to survive. And the last thing, the decision that made us move from Syria. So one day, there were many huge bombings happening around our house. And my mom, she wakes up, she says, "Today, I'm not sending my children to school." She was right. It was the motherly instinct that saved my sisters that day. Because that day, my sister's school had been bombed. And I do remember when I went out to help people, to rescue people with the rescue team, to take dead bodies out of that piles of destroyed buildings. And when I came back home and I told my mom, "This is what I have seen. I have seen the school has been bombed." This is what literally she said: "I have lost my children. I have lost my husband. I can't lose my children." And the next day, we moved. We couldn't even pack up things, important things with us. So, moving on. Of course, I used to live in city of Aleppo, and let's talk some geography. So for us, because we were Christians, it wasn't safe for us to go to Turkey because ISIS was there. And the only safest place for us to go, it was Beirut, Lebanon, because we had an Armenian community there. So this journey from Aleppo to Beirut used to take 3 hours. When we left home, it took us 24 hours just to go from Aleppo to Beirut. And there were maybe more than 200 roadblocks. And one of the roadblocks, two militias with machine guns, they come to the bus. They look around and they see my brother. They see my brother, they point the machine gun to him, and they ask him to come with them. We didn't know what's happening. I looked at my mom, she was crying. I looked at my sisters, they are kids, they don't know what's happening. And literally, my hands were tied that moment. So they took my brother out of the bus. We were lucky enough that the bus's driver's assistant went down with him. He negotiated with the militias that finally they let my brother back. Otherwise, they were going to kidnap him, either to torture him and to take his body organs to sell it in the black market, or to ask for ransom. Millions of dollars that nobody has that money in Syria. And finally, we arrived in Lebanon. Moving on. In Lebanon, the life wasn't easy. We applied to come to Australia for 3 times. The first time we applied, we had been rejected. The second time we applied, we had been rejected again. And we were in a dilemma. We didn't know what to do. And finally, for the last time, we applied again. And of course, during that waiting time, as a Syrian refugee, you're not allowed to study in Syria, in Lebanon. You're not allowed to study. You're not allowed to work. You're not even allowed to have health care from the hospitals or any GPs because you are a refugee. And finally, after almost 2 years of waiting, I get a call. I get a call from the Australian embassy, and this is literally what lady said on the other side of the phone. She said, "Congratulations, George, you have been granted Australian visas." As soon as I heard that, I started crying, and I do remember the lady said, "George, take your time, because finally you're gonna be safe." And after that, moving on, in the next slide, in 2017, we arrived to Australia. We arrived to Australia, it was a family reunion for us, because we finally were together, because my mom's family side lives in Australia. So when we came here, it was like reunion for us. We were so happy. And I do remember at the time, when we first arrived, I used to live in Liverpool. It was Friday when we arrived. And as I mentioned, I used to serve in Armenian church. As a sort of a thank you for God, I decided to go to church the next day. Not the next day, the day after, basically Saturday and Sunday. Of course, Sunday is a holiday, for example. And I took my map. I don't know how to travel. I don't even know that there was a system called Opal system. Basically, you buy an Opal card. I had my phone in my hand. I put Chatswood, because the Armenian church is in Chatswood. And I walked to Liverpool station. I walked to Liverpool station. I get there. I don't know where to buy tickets. I look around, there is nobody to help me, other than I have seen a kiosk machine. And I said, oh, maybe this is how people, they buy their tickets. I went to the machine, because my map, Google Maps, was saying airport, through airport. I said, maybe I should enter airport in the map, in the kiosk machine. I put airport. I look at the ticket price. I said, that's $21. I said, maybe Australians might be so rich to pay $21 for a ticket to get to somewhere. Anyway, I got the ticket. Of course, unfortunately, I bought the ticket to airport. That's why it cost me $21 in the second day of my life in Australia. So I have the ticket in my hand now, and then I don't know where to go. I don't know where are the platforms. And then lucky enough that there was a lady comes to me. He goes, "Son, you look lost. What happened?" I said, "I just want to go to Chatswood." She goes, "Follow me, I'm going to North Sydney." Perfect. Now, I get to the train, and as soon as I get in the train, I'm in shock. Because I never seen a train with double stories, 2 levels. It was a shock for me. And as soon as I saw that, I was already in shock, and then suddenly I see the lady moving a seat from one side to another. That's my second shock. I couldn't believe my eyes that you can change the seating direction in a train. So I was already happy and excited that I'm in a double-story train, and with the seat you can move. Now I was on the train, and finally I'm going, and then finally I reached a place that on my right-hand side I see the top of Opera House. As soon as I saw that, I couldn't believe my eyes, because finally I realized that I'm in Australia. But of course, because I always have seen Australia from movies and documentaries, when you see Opera House, what is the next thing you should see? What is the next thing you should see next to Opera House? Harbour Bridge, exactly. I looked around, I couldn't see Harbour Bridge. I looked around again, right and left, I couldn't see Harbour Bridge. And I asked the lady, I said, "Where is Harbour Bridge?" And she started laughing. She goes, son, you are on Harbour Bridge, because the train literally was on Harbour Bridge. And finally I get to Chatswood and I walk down to church. And let's talk about my life in Australia and what I'm doing. It has been now 5.5 years. Moving on, my life in Australia. In Australia, I found a couple of things and I would like to share it with you now. Let's go on. I found safety in Australia. In Australia now, I'm safe. I am safe and I know that nobody is going to kill me. And if you see the next slide, you can see my family happy. We don't need to worry about that. Somebody is gonna kill us in the morning, or when we're gonna go out, there will be a tank waiting for us to kill us. Next slide. Of course, you can see us. We are all happy. This is my beautiful family. Next slide. In Australia also, I found something else. If you click the next slide, education. And if you click the next slide again, you see a photo. This was me literally 3 months ago, where I graduated from university. I graduated from Western Sydney University with first class honours and university medal for outstanding scholarship. Because somebody decided to give me an opportunity to study, this is me now as a mechatronics engineer. And the next thing that I found in Australia, if you click the next slide, employment. And if you click the next slide, it's me, Engineer George. And now I am hired in a full-time position as a mechatronics engineer, and I am literally every day working with numbers and solving problems. And this was a dream of mine for 11 years. I couldn't finish my education in Syria, but now I finished my education. I am studying and I'm working full-time in a job that I love. But also, as I said, so if you go to the next slide, I found 3 things in Australia. I found safety, I found education, I found employment. But there is also something else that I found. Can anybody guess what else I found in Australia? Oh, I am hearing something from here. I found something, yes, you were very right. I found this. And if you ask me, George, show us what did you find? And I will show you right now. This is what I found. I found my beautiful wife, Rachel. She's not here, unfortunately, today. She's a bit sick, as everybody, getting sick recently. I found my love. I found the love of my life. And literally 7 months ago, we tied the knots, and we are husband and wife, Mr. and Mrs. Najarian. And so Australia gave me lots of things. And then now I will share you actually a snippet from my wedding day, so you can be all part of it. If you play the next one, and let's play the video. This is from my wedding video, by the way.
Yeah, it's a tough act to follow. George is with us for most of the evening, if not all the evening. There will be opportunities when desserts comes out to mingle and to talk to friends that are in the room. And I'm sure if you have questions for George, he's been more than happy to answer any of them. George, a lovely touch, and thank you for sharing in your wedding, and congratulations on your journey. I think that the importance of what George has shared with us is the choices that he got to make and the choices that he didn't. Nobody chooses to be a refugee. No one will ever choose to be a refugee. But as I said before, we all can make a choice about how we treat them. And so to George's message, if you give them love, they will give you love back. And I think that's where it begins. So George, thank you. Tough, we can all go home now? No. If only. So we have another performance coming up, again from the Peacemakers Ensemble. They're going to share with us a few songs. These are cultural songs, some songs sung in language, so we're appreciative of that. And I think there'll be a number, I think 3 or 4 songs coming. After that, we're going to, mains will be served, but we also have a short film coming up, another important part of the evening where we want to recognise some very special people who have made a very difficult journey from Afghanistan in this time. But I think we're just about ready, so I'm going to hand over again to Bashar and to the Peacemakers Ensemble.
Testing, testing.
Test.
Test.
Come on, hey. that song was a medley of 4 songs, one of them from Egypt, the other one from Lebanon, and 2 from Iraq. Now we're going to Syria. We're going to sing a song from Syria. حارتنا وتتلفت حوالينا وعينك على جارتنا يا عيوني ولا عينك علينا وبسك تيجي حارتنا يا عيوني وتتلفت حوالينا عينك على جارتنا يا عيوني ولا عينك علينا الله الله جابك على حارتنا تخبى بالأراضي لك وعرايس ماكو عنا لك يعود الخيزراني أنا وجابك على حارتنا تتخبى بالأراني وعرايس ماكو عنا لك وعود الخيزراني الله تيجي حارتنا وتتلفت حوالينا الله عينك على جارتنا يا عين ولك ولا عينك علينا هلا 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 هي هي هلا 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 اها اها يلا الشام يا عيوني ومرت سيارة حمراء الله هي سيرتك يا عيوني يا عيوني وانا عرفت من النمرة الله 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 بين بيروت بين الشام يا عيوني ومرت سيارة حمراء الله هي سيرتك حبيبي يا عيوني لك وانا عرفت من النمرة دخيلة وبسك تيجي حارتنا يا عيوني وتتلفت حوالينا الله وعينك على جارتنا يا عيوني انا ولا عينك علينا بسك تيجي حارتنا يا عيوني وتتلفت حوالينا وعينك على جارتنا يا عيوني لك ولا عينك علينا يا دين الله. Thank you. One more. أول مرة ها؟ يلا. 1 2 3 4
يا
Thank you very much and enjoy your dinner. Thank you.
Thank you.
To the peacemakers, everybody. How fantastic. The Peacemakers are actually a community-based group established in 2016 to support people from Arabic-speaking migrant and refugees in their settlement. Some of those ladies that sung to you just moments ago were actually refugees themselves. Through the beauty of music and performing arts, they're able to help Arabic-speaking migrants and refugees in their resettlement. Currently, they have around 58 members, and tonight we were able to meet 5 of those, including Bashar Hanna. I'm so glad you enjoyed that as entertainment, and I'm sure they're available for your own gigs. We'll just harass Bashar later. So, ladies and gentlemen, as the main course is passed around, we move into a very important moment of tonight's proceedings. Just recently, a number of very brave and young women from Afghanistan were forced to flee in what we all know and has been covered in news and in the media. With us today are a group of very brave young women from Afghanistan. Ladies, if you can put your hands up. There's a few joining us in the room. An incredible journey. Their journey was documented last year. They escaped from their home country when the Taliban took over in August last year, and we're privileged to have them here tonight. A documentary was made of this experience. Incredibly, the film is called we're going to see a short version of the film. Don't worry, I'm not putting you all through the entire journey. The short film is called Die or Die Trying. And I think that's core to the sentiment of the journey that these young women, very brave young women, embarked upon. This comes courtesy of our generous friends at the Inner West Council. I do understand that they were heavily involved in funding this project. And also our friends at Addison Road Community Centre. Many of you, I'm sure, are aware of Addie Road, and especially during COVID, we certainly helped them hand out many food parcels that many in the community support. So the movie goes for about 12 minutes. Please eat and enjoy a movie. I know my parents would never let me watch television while we had dinner, but tonight I think it's okay. Let's enjoy and hear for the brave stories of Farhat and Marwa. Farhat and Marwa are joining us later on stage with George to talk more in depth just exactly what their experience was all about. So thank you, enjoy your meal, and please enjoy the screening.
I'm Marwa Muin. I'm 21 years old from Afghanistan, and this is the film about how me and my friends escaped the Taliban.
My name is Farhat Nazari. I'm from Kabul, Afghanistan. I was a student in some private university. Also, I had worked with some NGOs, and I worked with for women's rights, children's rights, and vulnerable people in Afghanistan.
This is me, Farhat Koestani from Afghanistan. I was a student of American University in information technology as a network engineer, and inside of this I had my own work as a coordinator manager in Humanity Foundation organization, and inside I was a good writer. Before Taliban took my country, I had my normal life when I was in capital and Taliban was around of the province. I had my normal life. Went to university, went to my job and come back home, normal life with no tension. But sometimes I can imagine if Taliban take the capital, what should I do? But I never think about these Taliban have this ability to take my capital of my country as well.
I was at university. Suddenly my mom called me and she told me Taliban is coming into Kabul. I didn't believe, but unfortunately it was right.
I was in class, my mom called me. I knew it's urgent. So she told me just come quick because the Taliban came. We didn't even think about that. Is this possible?
Our friends Marwa told us that come with me, my home is so near to university. Then we decided to come with her.
I just see some of my friends, they just wanted to escape, but they couldn't because the home was so far away. I said, it's okay, you can come with me. My home is very near, very close to the university. You can come and stay with me maybe for a couple of days or a couple of hours, including my cousins and my sister and myself. It was 15 girls. We just hid in one room and locked the door.
We are all friends, university's friends, and we scared a lot. Also, our family worried so much about us.
I first received a call from a lady here in Australia, an Afghan lady, who said she had some relatives stuck in Afghanistan. 15 girls stuck in a house and hunted by the Taliban.
Everyone was crying to maybe they will die, or maybe the Taliban came or take the girls or take our families even. The families also stuck on their houses. We stuck on this house. Every house was a jail for everyone.
My name is Rosanna Barbero and I'm the CEO of Addison Road Community Centre. I first found out about Marwa at the same time as I was watching the events in Afghanistan unfold, and because we all knew that the Taliban are a terrorist group and we know what they're capable of. So I said to Tamkin, how can we help? And Tamkin said that the best thing that we can do at this stage is hurry up and fill out forms for people in Afghanistan that want to escape.
Then Marwa told us that I have some they want to help us. After Tamkin with Rosanna and Craig Foster, and they help us a lot to get the Australian visa.
I'd been working on many cases of particularly female Afghan athletes, the women's football team and Paralympians and others. But this morning I walked into Rosanna's office and saw all these 842 humanitarian visa applications on the ground. And I said to Rosanna, what are you doing? Who are these for? You haven't mentioned these to me. And she said, well, there's a group of young Tajik girls who are in trouble in Kabul and we're trying to help them. And of course, I knew the difficulty of getting visas. I also knew the length of time it takes. It can take years to get an application through. And at that particular point in time, I was aware that there were literally thousands, if not tens of thousands of applications already.
We didn't know how should we go to Australia, how should we go, we pass the border, how should we go to the airport, because the airport situation was so horrible, and we couldn't go to airport on that time because all of us were girl and Taliban looking forward us, and we didn't know how should we do.
We were reluctant to say to the girls, just getting in a van, get yourselves to the border, because we didn't want to take that risk. But we did encourage them to talk to people that other people had used to get to the Pakistani border.
We had to advise these girls whether they should stay and die, either at the hands of the Taliban or maybe their own, or die trying? And we said, you have to go.
I just called to those drivers that I trusted on that. So I just told them to come 5 o'clock on this address. I will let you know what we're gonna do. Then we just go in separate cars and 3 separate cars. Even we just start at the 5 o'clock because there was no one on outside. We just start the trip up to Jalalabad in 3 different ways. For 10 or 15 minute distances. We just wanted to no one knows about that.
They were going to leave, and if it meant dying, then they would die, but they would try.
And every time the Taliban stopped us at the checkpoints, we were just really, really scared. We were thinking maybe they will take us, maybe they will do something, maybe they will kill the drivers or take the girls or something. Or we will reach there on the border or not. Maybe we will die on the way. We arrived to the border of Pakistan to go outside to cross the border. But even we had visas on there, but we couldn't because the Pakistani people told us we have to have a border pass or permission from High Commission or from embassy or something to cross the border.
And we knew by this time that we needed a letter from the Pakistan government secured through the Australian Embassy in Islamabad. So we still weren't there.
We were in 7 days in 7 places. We couldn't introduce ourselves that who we are. We have to hide in every places for 7 days.
We couldn't go alone. We couldn't go alone in border because Taliban didn't allow the single girls without their parents or their brother to go anywhere, especially any province or any other country.
In the other side of the border, we saw the car that the Australian people just there and they are waiting for us.
And they finally got through after 4 hours to the other side.
I received the video of them walking across the gate, which was just a tunnel with an awning on it. And shortly after that, video of the girls in a minibus organised by the Australian government and our High Commission in Pakistan.
So when the last day of their quarantine, Craig and myself and Yana from Addy Road, we went down to the hotel, and it was just this moment when Marwa and the girls walked out of the revolving doors and we were there, and it was just incredible after all these months of communicating and sharing to some degree all the low points and the high points of this precarious and dangerous journey, and to see these courageous women in real life. And there was lots of hugs and there were tears. And then shortly after that, they came to Addy Road to meet everybody else at Addy Road that also were very aware of every step of the journey that the girls took.
Meeting the girls in Sydney has been amazing for everyone, because we have been able to witness firsthand what we already knew throughout their ordeal was just the incredible strength and extraordinary courage and dignity of these young kids.
When I leave my home, I leave my family, I leave my province and country, I feel like I lost my everything. I lost my hopes, my dreams, my family, my parents, my mom, my father, my sister and brother.
But when I see the Australian people on the other side, it was also a little bit fun for us to, we will be good in safe places. We will go in the other place that it will be give us lots of opportunities to do everything, but still feel very guilty to leave everything behind.
These kids will make an incredible contribution to Australia. They're so motivated to make something of their lives. They're so proud to be Afghan, and they're so fueled by what the Taliban has done to them and their country that they are going to spend the rest of their lives working to lift up their country, to lift up the voice of Afghan women.
Each drop of my tear is not about my weakness. The most powerful woman is on all the world is Afghan women. We are so strong, and we will try to be a sample or be an example for all the world. We never give up.
And we're going to hear from at least two of the women in the video a little bit later. What a harrowing journey, and you know, it's something to reflect upon. If that was your own family, if they were your own kids, if that's you or your brother or your sister and you don't see them again. It's incredible. But to lift the mood, we have something a little bit more inspiring. Well, there's not much more inspiring than that. Let me put it another way. We have an opportunity to showcase some of the hard work that Metro Assist does through our Dress for Work program. Some of the young gentlemen you saw dancing earlier have joined us tonight to showcase just exactly what Dress for Work does. Dress for Work is a program that Metro Assist started many years ago. The premise of which is something akin to Dress for Success that you may have heard about, only focusing on young men and men of all ages, providing quality clothing and comprehensive job readiness training. Again, to the men and many men in this room who come from a disadvantaged background, a vulnerable background, and not necessarily a refugee. Through this complete program, we find that our young men especially discover a new level of confidence, prepares them for meaningful employment, and allows them to take control of their future. I'm going to share with you a series of videos, and then tonight we have, as I said, a group of very enthusiastic young men. They've already put on a dance and a show for us earlier. They'll now showcase exactly what Metro Assist does, and you'll hear a little bit about them. But first, to our video.
Dress for Work is a social enterprise. We look to assist men and young boys get back into the work scene. Whether they be disadvantaged or have experienced any setback, we look to provide them avenues to get back into work.
When COVID hit, it just made it 10 times worse, and it got to a stage where being self-sufficient was an impossibility. When you started to kind of rebuild, and you just don't have the means, sometimes just basic things as I just didn't have a suit.
I wanted to volunteer in this space because I think, as a guy myself, dressing is an important part of life. The first thing I notice is when you put the jacket on their shoulders, and when the jacket's been placed on, they start to stand a bit taller, their shoulders start to roll back, and that's the first indication to me that they're feeling good in what they're wearing.
So Dress for Work, we started a pilot partnership last term for our Fit for Work programs, and we run programs all over the state. The second they put those suits on, we couldn't actually wipe the smiles off their face, and they just radiated confidence.
Every day, honestly, when you actually see the person coming here, they they look defeated, and then once they try on a new suit, and then they look in the mirror, and then you see that first smile, and they're just that look that they haven't seen in a while from themselves is great, and that's the reason why we do what we do.
There are good people out there. There are good organisations out there that are willing, are able and willing to help you. You just have to reach out and ask for help.
We all come from different walks of life, and the program isn't tailored just to one individual or to one age demographic.
So we actually have received funding recently to purchase construction wear. So that comes from work pants, work boots, high-vis shirts, helmets, steel cap boots, etc. Part of our program is also giving them, I guess, mentoring. So whether that's resumes, etc., applying for jobs or how to apply for jobs. So as soon as they come into the program, it opens up a whole new avenue for them.
They've been a massive part of our program this term, and they've been able to provide us opportunities that without them we wouldn't be able to service all of our young people.
There is a pathway from kids either leaving school or people that have been out of a job for a long period of time.
To summarise, Dress for Work really helped me get to where I am today.
Saleh is our most recent Dress for Work coordinator. Has been with us 6 months? Yeah, 7 months, and is doing fantastic things, and he's going to lead us through an exciting event.
Hello everyone, I hope you've had a wonderful meal, and thank you all for coming. Firstly, thank you in partnership with Bankstown Community College, Dress for Work, we've organised a fashion show to showcase the items that we have available. So please make some noise for the boys when they come out, and hope everyone enjoys the show. First up, we have our high-range suits that will help any man find their confidence. We have in order Awan Mohammadi, Reza Beza, Hikmatullah, Zabi, Sami, Ramon, Mark and Mario coming out. Can we please hit the music?
Every morning when your feet hit the floor, tell yourself today could be the day. Today could be the day that I turn my entire world upside down for the better. Today could be the day everything in my life changes. Today could be the day that I turn my entire world upside down. I take all things in my life to another level. In my life, you can tell everybody. You can tell everybody. Go ahead and tell everybody. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes I am, yes I am, yes I am. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. I believe every lie that I ever told. Paid for every heart that I ever stole. I played my cards and I didn't fold. But it ain't that hard when it got sold. Somewhere I heard that life is a test. I've been through the worst, but I still give my best. God made my mold different from the rest. Then he wrote that mold, so I know I'm blessed. Stand up now and face the sun. Hide my tail or turn and run. It's time to do what must be done. Be a king when kingdom come. Well, you can tell everybody. Yeah, you can tell everybody. Go ahead and tell everybody. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Well, you can tell everybody. Yeah, you can tell everybody. Go ahead and tell everybody. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes I am, yes I am, yes I am. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. I got all the answers to your questions. I'll be the teacher, you could be the lesson. I'll be the preacher, you be the confession. I'll be the quick relief to all your stressing. It's a thin line between love and hate. Is you really real or is you really fake? I'm a soldier standing on my feet. No surrender and I won't retreat. Stand up now and face the sun. Won't hide my tail or turn and run. It's time to do what must be done. Be a king when kingdom comes. So you can tell it.
good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah.
Yes, I can. Now better leave. I'm running with this plan. Pull me, grab me, crabs in the pocket can't have me. I'll be the president one day. Jam with me first. Oh, you like that gossip? Like you're the one taking what gossip.com. Now I got a word for your tongue. How many Rolling Stones you want? Yeah, I got a brand new spirit speaking and it's done. Woke up on the side of the bed like I won. Talk like a winner, my chest to that sun. G5 in the US to Taiwan. Now who can say that? I wanna play back. Mama knew I was a needle in a haystack. I'm a Valley boy, plus way back. I got a feeling it's a rap. ASAP.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling.
The mountain top, walk on water. I got power, feel so royal. 1 second, I'ma strike for you. Diamond, platinum, no more for you. That adrenaline, never giving in. Giving up's not an option, gotta get it in. Witness, I got the heart of 20 men. No fear, go to sleep in the lion's den. That glow, that spark, that crown. You're looking at the king of the jungle now. Stronger than ever, can't hold me down.
Also, we are going to have a special performance from two of the boys here, Mark and Mario, the brothers. And yeah, if anyone knows the song, also just sing along. We'll be back in like 5 minutes. Thank you.
Well done, boys. I know how nervous you were. You all look great. Thanks so much. A round of applause. So as Saleh mentioned, two of the boys are going to join us, come back on stage. Two very talented brothers who will not settle with just being on the catwalk. If I can, please welcome back to the stage Mario and Mark. That's all right. All right, just bear with us. We've got a few props they're going to set up. At least you're dressed for the part, gentlemen. Well done, boys. If anyone wants to use them for any advertising or anything, you can see me later outside. We haven't discussed a commission yet, but so yeah, these two brothers, Mario Al-Kujo and Mark Al-Kujo, very talented boys who, when we asked and we said, can you get up on stage to do a fashion show as part of Metro Assist, they were the ones who said, well, would you like us to sing as well? So let's see what they have. I haven't heard them myself, but no doubt very talented brothers. Oh, did you know your head teacher was coming today? Did you invite him? Where's the principal then? Yeah. All right. Thank you, boys. Good luck.
attention, guys. Mario and Mark Alcojo. Thank you.
Test. فوق النخل فوق يابا فوق النخل فوق مدري لما حتى يابا مدري القمر فوق والله ما اريده باليني عليك صواني شموع خافا يمر بالعقد وش العقد بدموع يا قلبي وين الحزن حدر الحزر مرفوع دومك تون ونتك تبكي بدمع مرجوع طيفك من جذاب فوق السما مرفوع بالك تصيح بحزن صوت الحزن مسموع خطار عدنا الفرح مالك صواني شموع خطار عدنا الفرح مالك صواني شموع بالك تفز بالليل دافن مصيص الأمل سهر نجوم سهيل والريل فات وجزر مالك شغل بالريل حط لنا موقد جمر زود شاير الويل طيفك أمل جذاب فوق السما مرفوع بالك تصيح بحزن صوت الحزن مسموع خطار عدنا الفرح مالك صواني شموع خطار عدنا الفرح مالك صواني شموع بين العصر والمغرب مرت لمة خيالة مرت لمة خيالة وعرفت مرسوليفي لأنها شقرة وميالة لأنها شقرة وميالة بين العصر والمغرب مرت لمة خيالة مرت لمة خيالة وعرفت مرسوليفي لأنها شقرة وميالة لأنها شقرة وميالة لا تغرب تشمت من ضربتك وجعانة من ضربتك وجعانة بين سطوحي لسطوحة بين سطوحي لسطوحة خلي يكون حرامي روحي متعلقة بروحه روحي متعلقة بروحه شفته يمشي على رجله لابس حسنين برجله لابس حسنين برجله يا ربي موت رجله حتى يبقى حلالي حتى يبقى حلالي بين العصر والمغرب مرة تمت خياله مرة تمت خياله وعرفت أنس وليفي لها شقرة وميالة لها شقرة وميالة صغيرة جنت وانت صغيرون حبنا بدا بنظرات العيون كانوا طراطوا اللي يحبون من الصغر لما يكبرون مثل نجمة وقمر نبر حبنا وازدهر بعيونك حبيبي تبتدي دروب السهر لا 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 عالجرف قعدنا الليالي ذاك النهر والنخل عالي غيرنا وكبرنا يا غالي ظل النهر والنخل عالي مثل نجمة فرحنا والقهر بعيونك حبيبي تبتدي تروب السهر لا 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 Thank you.
Hello. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Mario and Mark Alcajo, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, dessert is coming out. We have one more incredible opportunity to share with you tonight. As I mentioned before, we have two of the stars of the film. A tough film that it is, Die or Die Trying. We have Farhat Kostani and Marwa Maween, who's going to join us on stage with Ginger George, who's going to moderate a session. Ladies, thank you. Welcome. Please take a seat. I think there's only 2 chairs needed. We're also joined by Jamshed Rizay. He's a 12-year-old student, a Year 12 student from Chester Hill High. He arrived in Australia with his family from Afghanistan in 2017. He has a big passion for working and advocating for community and his community as a youth leader, and recently nominated him for the New South Wales Youth Advisory Council, and he's passed the first round. You're not there yet, mate? we might have to see Jihad a little bit later. Ginger George is going to lead our chat. So I hand it over to you. And ladies, and Jimshad, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for sharing your journey.
Dear guests, can I have everybody's attention, please? We have beautiful young people sitting here on the stage, and I would like everybody to listen what they're going to say, because it's really important to hear their stories. We are here today to share stories, and it's their time to share their story. So welcome to all of you, and it's beautiful to see beautiful young faces here. And they are Australians, you are part of this community, and we are so proud to have you here today. If you don't mind, briefly, three of you, introduce yourself, who you are, what do you do, and what you used to do in terms of when you were back home. Let's start from ladies.
Thank you so much. Hello everyone and welcome. Thanks for coming and hearing us. We here, my name is Marwa Maween. As you said, as you just watched on the documentary Die or Die Trying. I'm 21 years old from Afghanistan. We came last year, September. Actually, we escaped from the Taliban, from the situation that it's in Afghanistan. Still it's going on. I was a student in last semester of Bachelor in Business Administration in the English University in Afghanistan. That was a private university because I supposed to have to learn English as well. I choose to be in a private university. Well, I choose to study business, and we had a family business as well over there in Afghanistan. I was work over there 6 months as a finance officer, and then around more than years being a sales manager over there. And we had a very big shop. I was going to this university, then work, had a very normal life as Australian now in Australia. And when Taliban came, they destroyed everything, and we're supposed to choose to be a refugee. It's not our goal, it's not bad being a refugee. As you said, refugees are human too, like a normal people. We are same, we all connected with each other. We can do whatever we want. It doesn't matter where we are born or which language we are speaking, which color we are. We just came together to do something for ourselves, for the people that they helped us, back to them, for the countries like Australia. They did a lot for us. They saved our life. You said safety, employment, education. That's absolutely correct. We arrived here and now we're safe. We just find our pathway to life in the future, what we have to study, then graduate from that, and then everything. And now we're here.
Thank you, Marwa. Thank you very much for sharing it. Dear guests, please, I would ask you again, let us give some attention to our guests here. They are trying to share their stories, and it's important, again, we hear them. And they might not be able to continue if we keep interrupting them. So please, everybody, can I have a silence, please? Everyone, can I have a silence so we can listen to their stories, please? Thank you, Marwa. Of course, being a refugee, as you said, isn't an easy journey, but at least we are all survivors. And let's go to the next participant today, our next panelist. And if you please introduce yourself and what you used to do and what are you doing now.
Hello, everyone. And racism not welcome. I am Farhat Koestani, Tajik girl. I'm from Afghanistan. I was a student in my country with two fields in one time. I was a student in information technology in American University, and I was a student in business banking administration as well. But I was women's rights activist. I was interested to take the rights for the women who doesn't have their rights. I was a quiet writer in my own language, which is Persian, and the bloody Taliban took my way, and it stopped me, and I being to be a refugee 6 months ago. I arrived in Australia 6 months ago, and I tried to build my life when I was with everything, with education pathway, with my strong wish
that it was my wish to become a leader in my country, but I lost everything. I come to Australia even without my enough clothes. I come here with summer clothes, which was here winter. But I was so hopeful for the future. In my second of my week here in Australia, I start to be a student in Bankstown Senior College. And here I do my respectful teacher, Mr. Komitopoulos. They helped me a lot, and I passed my IEC within 8 weeks. Then I joined to high school in Bankstown Senior College. Why I'm telling my whole story? It means because of my being a refugee, I lost my education pathway, and I tried to go through back even 2-3 years. But still, I am happy, for the knowledge and education is not wasting the time. I am already a student in Bankstown Senior College, but unfortunately, I got a scholarship in Barker College. So as soon as possible, I will start there. And I am carrying on my passionate, and I would like to be a politician face still. And I'm still stand on my wish, which was a leader. And I do promise in front of everybody, I will be the leader for the first time with a woman face. I'm gonna show for the world like Afghan people, especially the women, are not weak. We are so powerful. I am in Australia alone by myself. I don't have my parents. I am here for myself, a mother, a sister, a brother. And I'm doing everything for myself. But still, I'm so hopeful for my future. I don't want to go for the politician side, but I'm so glad for my future, and I'm so hopeful, and thanks for being with us. Thanks for the opportunity that I can share my story. My story is too long. I come to Australia without saying goodbye for my parents. I didn't say goodbye for my parents and I start my journey. My journey to Australia takes almost 7 months. I was stuck sometimes in Dubai. I escaped the Taliban first of everybody, as you say in the documentary. I got my safety in Dubai. I don't like to be under refugee name. And I did promise with myself to remove this name as much as soon as possible, because I do believe humans are born free. And this is my freedom. I can live anywhere that I want. Nobody can stop me. So that's why I would like to become a leader. First of all, I will remove the borders. And I'm give the freedom for the humans to live anywhere that they want. But anyway, I appreciate to celebrate the Refugee Week and Happy Refugee Week, but let's celebrate the diversity. Let's celebrate to be equal, build equality. We need to prefer humanity and accept each other. So my born place wasn't in my hand. I born Afghan and I born a girl. It wasn't in my hand. But Happy Refugee Week. Thanks for this opportunity. Love you all. Thanks for everything.
Thank you very much, Farhat. Those are strong words of a future leader. And we are so glad that we have activists like you who defend women's rights, even though they have struggled a lot in their home country. And moving on to our last panelist, quickly, if you don't introduce yourself and what you used to do, what are you doing now?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today and pay my respect to the elders, past, present, and future. My name is Jamshid Mirzai, and I'm the school captain of Chester Hill High School. I was born and raised in Afghanistan and lived there for more than 10 years. But due to safety, we had to move to Iran, so we have a better life. My dad came to Australia maybe 12 years ago, and we had to wait for 5 years to get our visas. So it was 2017 when we first came to Australia. I barely could speak English. I had no friends. I didn't know how things were done in Australia. It was really different than Afghanistan. But I had to learn English. So I started from IEC, Chester Hill IEC. And I studied there for 1 year. Then I moved to high school. I started from year 8. I really liked leadership. So I joined the school leadership team. And I saw the other leadership people in school. So I learned from them. I used the opportunities in there. So after 4 years and 5 years, here I am, the school captain of Chester High School. I really like sports. I like playing volleyball. It's my passion. I like to make friends. So in 2019, I was selected to play for New South Wales and in the national championship. So we competed with other states, every other state in New South Wales. And we won. We actually came first. And it was really a good experience for me. We never had this opportunity in Afghanistan or Iran. So now Australia gave me a second opportunity, a second chance to study, to educate, and prove myself. So now I'm studying year 12, aiming to finish high school successfully. So I continue my education through university, tertiary education, to study a Bachelor of Commerce and Bachelor of Law. Additionally, I also got my citizenship last year. I'm really proud to be an Australian. I feel like this is my home. This is where I belong. And I really like to help other people, young people. So I joined my community, my Afghan community. We used to teach the Afghan little kids the Islamic studies and religion, plus their language, so they know their culture. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jamshid.
Thank you.
From here, you can see these three beautiful young people. They represent their communities, and they give a great example. What does resilience mean? What does survival mean? And what does having that leadership skills in them? Because you prove to the world, and from this stage, that no matter what, you are a survivor, you are a fighter. And as last thing, very quickly, as we said, it's a year of healing. What is the message you would like to give to Australian community, and how they can help you to heal better? Very quickly, it's a platform, it's yours now. Give a message to Australian community, how they can help you to heal better.
Well, we arrived very recently, as you know. I got a PR to be a permanent residency, but I was worried about my education. Should I be a citizenship then go to the university, or what? Should I wait for 4 and 5 years to being a citizenship then go to the university? Unfortunately, I got a scholarship from UTS. I'm gonna start a journalist next month over there, and I'm gonna be an Afghan Australian journalist on the TV next couple of years. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for everything, for the people that they helped us to arrive in Australia. Tamkin Hakim, Rosanna Barbero, Craig Foster, and from Addison Road. And the safety sign that I saw first time in Australia, racism not welcome. And for the new government, they bring hope for us back. We lost our hope, and now we just gave the hope back from the government, from Australian people, from communities, from every people that they are living here. They helped us a lot, and we want to be very helpful for them, and we want to do back to them many, many times more. Thank you so much for everyone.
Thank you, Marwa. Thank you very much. Beautiful words again. And every time we see that people are, refugees like us, we appreciate what Australian people and Australian citizens here do for us. Moving on to Farhat. Yes, your message, or what message do you ask from you give to these beautiful people who are sitting here that can help you heal better?
I do my inspiration about my future here in Australia. I find my safety, I find my education, I find my everything here in Australia. And as I mentioned before, I need to carry about my education, to build my education first of all, and then I will be a good leader for the humans, and I will be a human's rights activist here. Before I work as a women's rights, when I arrive in Australia, I see we do here a man as well who doesn't have their rights. And I changed the gears to be a human rights activist.
Great words, of course. As we can see, you're there not just for yourself, you're representing many, many people who stand behind you and tell you we are very proud of you, Farhad. Jamshid, it's your turn now.
Yep. Well, I think Australia is the place, I think, that gave me the chance to achieve my goals, to be successful, to be who I want to be, to make my families proud, my community. So my message is to everyone, use the opportunity that is given to you. Use what you want to be. And especially to the young people in high schools, use all the opportunities available in there and be who you want to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A great round of applause to our guest here. I can't hear it louder. I want a great round of applause to these beautiful young people here. On behalf of everybody, we congratulate you again, and we say we are so proud to have people like you. We call them our friends, we call them our citizens, we call them our people who are close to our heart. You are most welcome here. This is your home, this is your country as it's mine now, and we look forward to the great achievements that you're going to achieve soon. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here today.
Please just stay there. Thank you so much for those awesome words. I'd like to invite another special guest. This gentleman himself was born overseas. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce the Honourable Member for Lakemba, State MP, Mr. G. Hadib, and he's to respond to the students.
Well, thank you so much, Michael. And of course, I want to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land and pay my respects to elders past, present, emerging. I don't know if she's still here at the moment, but I thought Auntie Lynn's word where she said inner is so important because tonight is really about listening. And I want to thank, of course, Michael and Simon and the team at Metro Assist for putting on this. We've just had a pretty interesting week in Parliament. It's budget week. It's not the most fun, and it's pretty intense, and sometimes you're exhausted. So before I thank you guys, before you thank us for whatever you put on, I want to thank the speakers tonight and the presenters and Metro Assist for putting on an event that reminds us not only how important things are, but the values and the contributions that when we work together we can make, and those inspirational stories that we hear. So tonight we heard, I love it, Ginger George, one of the best speeches, I'm not saying that in your face, one of the best speeches I've heard in a long, long time, and I just put that on my social media. And Mrs. Ginger, thank you very much for making him happy. But it was a beautiful story, and particularly I loved the bit where you talked about, give me an opportunity and I'm going to make a future. Now, of course, Marwa, Farhad and Rashid. Marwa with Tamkin, I was telling the people on my table, when you were in Afghanistan and filling in the forms wasn't easy, couldn't get on the internet, wasn't easy. But Tamkin and some volunteers at 80 Road and some other volunteers that managed to help in some way, whether they were students, whether they were friends, were actually exchanging messages over WhatsApp so they could actually fill in the forms for you. And to me, that was a great start of a way of bringing people over. Farhad, I want you to be a member of Parliament. I want you to be a leader. You should take your inspiration from a certain senator in Western Australia who came here and now stands proudly, Ms. Payan, stands so proudly as a senator in the Australian Parliament. And whether you're a politician in Australia or a politician in Afghanistan, the most important thing is that you don't lose that passion and you don't forget the thing that inspires you to take on the leadership roles. So there's a million mentors here who would give you whatever help that you need. And Rashid, school captain. You are a very popular young man, very well spoken, very handsome, very ambitious, very future focused. It's really wonderful. But I know that I stand between me and you guys leaving tonight. I want to thank Metro Assist. Tonight, we've heard people and speakers thank the Australian community, society. But can I tell you You don't have to thank us. We actually need to thank you, because you enrich who we are. You make us a better nation. You bring out the best in us. And for those loud voices who want to demonize refugees, there's so many more who actually know that as part of a better world, you make that contribution. There is a better future that we have as Australia when every single jigsaw piece that we have, as different as it might be, fits in together. From our First Nations right through to the latest person, we're all part of that Australian story. You are part of that Australian story. You are a chapter of that Australian story. So you don't need to thank us. We need to thank you. This is your homeland. You don't forget your motherland. Be proud of where you come from. Be proud of where you are. Make a contribution. And thank you for making Australia better. And now I get to take a bunch of flowers home. I've got to give them out, sorry. Wonderful. Thank you all. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for sharing. I think the future is bright, it would be fair to say. George, thank you for sharing that. Ladies and gentlemen, that's almost the end of this evening. There is 2 more exciting things to happen. I encourage you now, if you're seated, to have a look at the chair you're sitting in. If there happens to be a ribbon on the chair, then you've won a prize. We have a sponsor, The Body Shop, have provided us with a number of small gifts, and we thought the best way to do this was to create a bit of a game at the end. Anybody who finds a ribbon on their chair, Quinn at the back, can you put your hand up please? Just go straight to the back and grab your gift. Ladies and gentlemen, tea and coffee is coming out. Please feel free to get up as you need to. Yes, sorry. This is for all our clients, not the VIP table. That was part of your ticket price. No. In fact, we pay for the gifts with the donations. We didn't actually pay. The gifts are donated from The Body Shop. So ladies and gentlemen, whilst we're doing that, I'm going to put out a few thank yous to all our partners and our guests, our stakeholders. We couldn't be where we are today without you. You make us better. You enable us to deliver what we need to deliver.
and together we'll build the Australia we want for everyone. If you have a ribbon, up to the back table, the table at the back of the room, the gifts are there. Okay, as you return to your seats, we have 3 more lucky people. There are 3 chairs in the room that are different to everyone else's chair. There's only 3 of them in the room. They are not the colour of white, they are a clear coloured chair. If you happen to sit in a clear coloured chair, then you've won one of our major prizes. These are gifts, again, donated by our partners. So if you are sitting in a clear chair or a golden chair, I can see one lady over here on my right, your left. One of the ladies from football, I see another lady down the back here, fantastic. There's still one more. If you head to the back of the room, there'll be a prize waiting for you. So once again, just quickly, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you to my team, everyone from Metro Assist. Thank you all for putting in the hours and putting on this great event. Congratulations, round of applause for everybody from Metro Assist. Thank you. I'd like to thank Scott and his wife Lynn for coming and hosting us again tonight. And I call on you all to continue to support the diversity in our community and support refugees from all walks of life. Thank you all for coming and enjoy the rest of your evening.